Welcome back to the Stumped Podcast, episode 4. I'm one of your hosts, Spencer.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Logan.
And today we have a very special guest. Again, back-to-back weeks for me. It's one of my longest friends. We met in a YMCA over a football that was stuck behind an elevator. Jeremiah Sanders. Jeremiah, welcome.
Thanks for having me here.
So, Jeremiah, give me top 3 things.
Oh man,
Give me
pressure on.
Quiz off the bat.
Give me 3 facts about yourself.
3 facts about myself. I love the Cleveland Browns.
That's false.
Got me.
This man loves the Cleveland Browns more than anyone else I know. Yeah.
Repping the Cleveland hat.
Yep. Okay, so Cleveland Browns.
I'm a teacher in Ravenna at the middle school, Brown Middle School, and I don't know. I've been to Italy twice.
Yes, he has. Yes.
Let me get this straight. You spend your weeks with middle school kids and your weekends watching the Browns.
Yes.
You have a sad life.
I have to lift a lot of weight to deal with my trauma here.
Honestly, good for you. I'm glad there's people like you because
listen, this dude.
I would go crazy.
Just what hurts you.
And I'm a Browns fan, so I get it.
Yeah.
I'll add on to it. He is the greatest middle school football coach in the game today.
Nice.
So he's the head middle school coach for Ravenna too.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows football.
There you go.
A little bit.
Awesome.
Sometimes.
I'm happy,
Yeah.
happy for people that can teach middle schoolers because they are a different breed of people.
Absolutely.
They're just better than you.
They're nuts. Have you spent any time with middle schoolers?
They're insane.
Oh, yeah.
I did a youth retreat one time.
Yeah, they're all psychos.
They are just. There's no controlling them.
Well, anyways.
Anyway.
Welcome, Jeremiah. Thanks
Yes.
for coming. This is going to be a lot of fun. Matt, you want to update the scores?
Yeah. So for the scores, we've got Logan sitting at the top with 8. We
Lucky.
got Spencer right below with 7. You got me trailing behind there with 4.
Yep.
And we have the guest sitting above me with 5.
Okay. Matt
Really struggling there.
Matt had a big week last
Had a
week.
big week
did.
last
Yeah,
week.
So.
You're on the comeback path.
Yeah, we'll see these stories, how these work out.
Okay, Maya, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have a theme for your stories?
Yes, I do. It's all related to national parks.
Okay. National parks. I got a theme too. Again, I searched the inner heart and I said, who else outside of Albert Einstein am I like? And I looked in the mirror and I came up with.
Wait, you
Alex,
looked in the mirror?
I looked in the mirror.
And you thought Albert Einstein.
I searched my deepest.
I like this one, Spencer. This is good.
Oh, man. Maya bringing the heat. No, I looked in the mirror and I found out that I think I am like Alexander the Great.
Wow, you...
Was he short too?
Oh!
I don't know.
More
enough
like
about him.
Napoleon. I mean, come on.
We need to bring your wife back on here and really just see if anything like these.
Knock you down a few pegs.
Yeah, good golly.
Okay, Logan, give us a little tip.
Alexander the Great. All right, sorry. I have a theme as well.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some weird floods.
Weird floods.
Weird floods. That's correct.
So you're going to talk about like basement flooding and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, Jeremiah, since you're the guest, you get to pick who goes first to share their stories. Logan, Spencer, Matthew.
You know, I'm a big park guy. Love national parks.
Okay,
so
okay.
let Matthew
Let's
go
hear
I
it.
first.
like it. I like it.
I hate this.
Lead us off, Matt.
Right, I got one on survival stories, one, but I need more time, and one on Birkenstocks. And that's it.
Survival.
Survival.
Survival?
Absolutely.
Survival.
We're in
This might be
agreement.
one of my longest stories. Let me pull it up.
He's not prepared. This is a lie.
Dude, I'm not prepared for any of these.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so 3 women took a drive to Death Valley for a day of exploring. 3 days and 300 miles later, they were out of gas and out of hope. Death Valley, the 3,000 square mile sprawl of sand dunes and dry mountains along California's southeast border, is the hottest, driest place on Earth. I believe in the summertime it's up to about 125 and maybe holds the record. This is me spitballing. I think it may hold the record for the hottest place on Earth in general.
Not the Sahara?
Yeah, there's.
I don't know, man. Hottest recorded temperature. It's got to be up there.
I
Maybe
can't-
top 10?
I can't.
Regardless,
Google-
warm.
Regardless, it's
Like,
hot. It's
very,
hot. All right.
very warm.
All right.
Name
So
Death
when-
Valley. So go
Yes,
ahead.
there's a reason for
There's a
that.
reason for that. Oh, these 3 women almost found out. On Thursday morning in July 2010, a 62-year-old retiree decided to explore the corner of the park she had never visited with her daughter and her daughter's friend and a house guest from Hong Kong. Side note, I don't know why you would be like, yeah, let's go there, and be like, yeah, let's do it. The temperatures outside the car reached 125 degrees that day. The ladies were driving on the dirt road and began climbing into the high country before they realized that they had made a wrong turn a few miles back. Unable to turn around and unable to use their atlas, they tried their GPS, which unfortunately only led them further to the unknown. Next thing you notice, they were running out of water and running out of gas. With no cell reception, they continued driving into the night. The next morning, they tried to start the car, and what do you know? It wouldn't work. They thought they had some luck when an airplane flew over nearby, but nothing. They couldn't track it down. It didn't see them at all. They tried the car one more time, and what do you know? It actually turned over. Fearful that the car would actually eventually die, they floored it downhill anytime they were going downhill, so they had enough momentum to go back uphill as they were running low on gas, and they assumed that was the problem. They headed back to where they had saw a fence the other day. As they arrived to the fence, they find a gate in the fence. They leave the car and hike in hope of finding civilization. They find 3 campers with nobody home. And eventually the woman decided to break into the trailers and rest and find water. The next day, they were found by a nearby helicopter marked with the California Highway Patrol, as their family members had not heard from them the past few days.
I have one problem with this story.
Yeah.
Can someone please tell me an atlas?
You know, I was thinking along the same line. So
An
we're on the same
atlas?
wavelength to that.
What year was this?
Not a map. They used an atlas?
Sorry, it was a... I'm blanking. The book. The massive book you open up. You've never had one?
Can
No,
you
we
use
had
it
one.
in a sentence?
Can I get the origin, please?
No, I know what you're talking
And so
about.
what
Yeah.
is it?
Is it not an atlas?
I think it is an atlas. Like it's the big
It's
book with
literally
literally
just-
every part of
It's
planet
every
Earth.
part of planet Earth on it.
Yeah, and it has like
No,
all the
well,
roads
sorry.
of like the
The United
continent that
States.
you're on. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I literally had one on my road trip.
No, yeah, we had one growing up.
Lies.
All right.
And also, can I just add, you said 62 years old?
Yeah, 62.
I mean, shout out to her for, can you imagine, just paint the picture. If this is true, a 62-year-old woman flooring it, going up and down hills like a mad woman. That'd be awesome. I don't buy it though.
All right, that's fine.
Atlas.
Do
I'm
you want-
50-50. It'll depend on the other two.
I need more time or Birkenstocks.
I don't even know what the last one. What's
Birkenstocks?
Birkenstock?
It's like a shoe.
A shoe?
It's like a hiking shoe. Let's do that one because I have a fake pair of Birkenstocks I got from I think Walmart for $5.
Oh, nice.
And I never need another pair of the real Birkenstocks. So these things are great.
Yeah, they're great. All right. Birkenstocks. Joanna Adam Birkenstock, the creator of Birkenstocks, made a trip to the United States that would change his company forever. In 1923, he made a visit to Arizona on an expedition of the Grand Canyon. He was in the Grand Canyon for 3 months with a team of scientists collecting samples of dirt, vegetation, and etc., all while exploring that area. During the time, he and his companions only carried boots, as those were the best shoe for hiking, obviously. But after the hike, he wanted something that would be more freeing for his feet. When Joanna got back to his hometown of, I'm going to butcher this, Langenbergum, Germany.
Langenbergum.
It's absolutely butchered, but when he got back to his hometown in Germany, he got to work on making a shoe that was supportive, small, and stylish. Don't look at my screen. What kind of friend do you have here?
I was trying to look at if that's how it was actually pronounced.
Wow.
I didn't realize it had like the lie or whatever on it. My bad.
Maya, what did you see?
I will be following his vote.
I saw Birkenstocks. That was it.
Good. You weirdo. All right, so it took him 2 years to get everything just right and began mass producing this sandal. He would later called the two-strap, the classic sandal that you can get from Birkenstocks, the Arizona, in honor of the Great Stick, where he visited the Grand Canyon.
That's believable.
I mean, I feel like that's how most products are made, though, right? Like, you find a need, and you're like, oh,
Wow.
I could do
Thank you
this.
for explaining
No,
businesses.
yeah, but
Praise the Lord
it's
for
very
Logan.
believable.
That's
what I'm
why
saying.
it's false.
Is it almost too believable?
Yeah, I'm
Here-
with you, Maya. It's almost too good to be true.
So here's the thing that I've been saying for a long time. The most outlandish story is never the false one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's human nature. You're not going to make it. It feels too unbelievable.
It's like
gotta
you
be
can't
true.
make that stuff up.
Yeah.
Like when you have 5 penalties in a row and back yourself up to second and 43 in a middle school game. That's not a real life story. That just happened.
Wow.
I feel like one of these days Logan's just gonna continuously repeat his little line there, and then he's gonna throw them out most outlandish one, and it's gonna be the one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
today. I've been feeding you that line for
Oh.
2 seasons for today.
2 seasons. Okay. What's the third?
All right, so the third one is, but I need more time. So this story comes from a seasonal worker as a cashier at a national park. Read in first person, much like some of Spencer's from an episode or 2 ago.
I'm a first person type of guy.
Hey,
Spencer likes
it'd be
what he
like
likes.
that. I was helping this individual with a pair of what?
Just read.
I was helping this individual with a pair of pants that were obviously for him, and as he was by himself. I asked him if he wanted to purchase a gift card also, and before I could finish saying gift receipt, he cut me off and told me just to ring him up. So I proceeded with his purchase and handed him his receipt. As I did so, he asked if he could get a gift receipt, to which I told him it was too late for that. Everything's already in the system and registered. He immediately got irritated and asked why. I explained why and told him that we had a 30-day return policy and he could return the pants now if he would like to get a gift receipt. Basically, return, purchase, get gift receipt. Still irritated, he said, what if I need more time, more than 30 days to determine if they fit? His girlfriend then proceeds to walk behind him and tell him that he needs to hurry up and start causing issues before he walks out of the store single.
The ultimatum.
Yeah, first off.
That's too believable.
So where are you falling?
I don't know. Maya, what are you thinking? So the three stories, Birkenstocks?
So
Yep.
Birkenstocks, survival
The
stories,
survival
and,
one.
but I need more time.
I don't know. The Atlas thing still gets me.
I'm with you, man. Like, if that's what it's called, great. But, man,
That's what it's called, yes.
I don't want to
know.
be wrong. I'm feeling something in my gut. I don't know.
What are you thinking, Logan? You always make everyone else submit first. I want to.
I submitted first.
Mhm.
I'd have to actually check the tape. I'm not gonna. No, I have. But
Sure.
well, we've typically made guesses. But anyway, I don't know because I'm torn about it. First person ones are really generally harder to fake. Usually, you're pulling one from an internet source or something. So I tend to believe that. The survival one is outlandish, but I think your Birkenstocks one is the most middle. I'm gonna do the Birkenstocks. I'll even lock it in now.
You're
Yeah.
locking in Birkenstocks?
Yeah,
All right,
sure.
lock it in.
There's no way they were on the road for just middle of nowhere GPS. No, I'd be amazed. I'm locking in the survival story.
Okay.
There's no way that can be true.
Locking in. So you've got Birkenstocks,
I got
Yeah.
survival.
So you want to go hit
can
all
go-
three, or do you want to double with one of us?
What are you thinking? Let me hear your thought process.
Yes. Talk through this with us.
I don't know. When he thought I was cheating, he was strangely protective of the computer.
That was Birkenstock.
We've all been strangely protective.
That's true. Spencer literally hides his
Spencer-
every time I'm around him.
Every time Logan comes by, it's like,
Bam.
I
Close.
don't trust him.
As the great coach said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So, whatever you got to do to win, just win, baby. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna actually go in with you though with the Atlas one.
Me?
Yeah,
You're going
just
Atlas?
just because the
Survival?
Atlas, just something's weird about
It's
the Atlas.
sitting wrong,
I
right?
know.
Okay, so you're locking in Atlas.
Yes.
Or the
all
survival.
right, so
Well-
Atlas, so
survival,
survival,
Birkenstock. Well, tell
Alright.
us the one we didn't guess
So
first. I
the
guess.
needing more time was
That's
a true
true.
story.
Okay.
There's a whole website dedicated to this stuff where they're just like national park people.
Someone's getting points.
There's a whole website dedicated to just, it's basically like a blog form and they just
Yeah.
post them. It's actually pretty hysterical. Well, you want to know which one was true, which one was false?
It's up to you.
I mean, break it to us hard.
Alrighty, well, Spencer and Jeremiah, you guys are wrong.
Really?
You guys are wrong.
Okay.
So
What are you applauding for?
yourself?
Matt,
so
Matt
survival story. First off,
Matt for fooling two people.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I started off with that story with like it's like a 10-minute story. Like it was so much detail. I was like, this is not going to work out at all. That's 100% true. An atlas is literally, it's a massive book. I had one on my road trip, and it has all the states, and then it also has detailed information about all of them. The GPS, from what I read, literally was either outdated 2010 and did not have either the correct information, but basically as they were driving, it basically said recalculating, and it said U-turn, and they're just like, we can't.
We're in the middle of the desert.
I mean, we got
That's
outdone
wild. No
by
cell
the mid
service.
story. Got outdone by the mid story.
That story
screwed.
felt unbelievable. That's why I said it was true.
Yeah.
But finding random campers in the middle of nowhere, like that's also really a good
That's
stroke of
what I
luck.
Yeah, no,
feel
it was
like-
really
like-
weird because they broke into, there was a mailbox, and
Yeah.
like, they went through the fence, and then like they came out of some woods, and there were campers, and I was like, there's running water and everything. I was like,
Yep.
That's pretty
this
wild.
is bizarre itself. But
So
Bergen
Bergen
starts is
Fox.
false. I almost expanded that story, but I left it at that.
I'm glad you didn't.
Okay. So that's false. So you got 2 points.
Whoop,
Or
whoop.
Yeah, and I
Well
got
done.
one. I
Well
mean,
done.
that was honestly 3 very believable stories. Like 3 good, indistinguishable.
I know that's rare
Tails.
for me, so
I'm still upset. Whatever.
Spencer's having a breakdown on set.
It's actually been. It's funny. It's been a rough go for the guessing game for Spencer so far. I have not guessed many correct.
Season's still young,
I've
Spencer.
been on the struggle bus. Okay. Logan, do you want to go or do you want me to go? I can go.
Let's let Jeremiah pick.
Oh yeah.
yeah, let Jeremiah
Yeah.
pick.
He did great last time.
Logan,
Give me the categories again.
Alexander the Great,
like it, I like
who I like to think I am similar to in some ways, as in the
Maybe
great
your
part.
nose? That's
Or I don't
weird.
even know what his thing is.
Weird floods.
Weird floods.
I'm about to Google his height. You keep describing yourself as a student. I'm just not seeing it.
Weird floods or Alexander the Great.
The floods also sounds interesting, so let's go with that.
You know what he
That's
just said
also
to
very
me?
national park related.
Wait,
so.
this is what he just said to me pretty much. Spencer, we've been friends for a long time. Your topic's the lamest.
No, he's saying I'm going to give you an opportunity
Uh-huh.
to score some points
the
before he guesses all
If
of
we're
it.
circling
yeah.
back, look at yourself in a mirror.
Okay.
We'll bring a mirror to every
Tell me
episode
these
after this.
Just catching strays right now.
Who invited this guy? Who invited this
I
guy?
like
Oh,
him.
man.
We should keep
Who
him
invited
around.
Micah?
Okay, all of our guests have been great so far.
Honestly.
Okay, Logan. Tell me
10
your
out of 10.
Tell me your weird
All right.
floods.
I got 3 of them for you here. Do you want to hear about the burp of death?
No.
Do you want to hear about a really sticky situation?
No.
Or do you want to hear about the tides arising?
No.
Okay, I think we saw burp of death.
Burp of death. I like it. I like it.
Sounds like a middle school thing.
All right.
so.
Like the cheese touch.
August 21st, 1986. Small town of Nios, Cameroon. Lake Nios burped. Now, this may sound like a fairly silly occurrence, a lake belching up air. However, it's far from it. Because to understand what happened, we need to understand the scientific facts about the lake itself, all right? Lake Nios is 682 foot deep on the top of a dormant volcano. The water in the lake's full of carbon dioxide, which is heavier than oxygen, to the point of saturation. So saturation point, for those of you who slept through chemistry, what do you teach? Chemistry?
English.
So that was
No,
you.
so you slept through chemistry.
Is when a substance can't hold any more of another substance. So you put enough sugar in your sweet tea, eventually it'll stop dissolving, and it will just fill into the bottom, right? So for carbon dioxide and water, that amounts 1 liter of carbon dioxide gas per 1 liter of water. But as you increase pressure, the amount goes up tremendously. So at 682 feet, water could actually hold 20 liters of carbon dioxide per every liter of water. And so what this
Sounds
looks
about
like...
right.
Yes. This is the
Amazing
four
Jeremiah was a
part.
chemistry
Sounds
teacher.
good to me.
This is the four part. If you were to stand at the bottom of Lake Nios, you'd watch bubbles of pure carbon dioxide released from the dormant volcanic vents at the bottom, and instead of floating all the way up, they would actually dissolve into the water on their way up. And over days, months, years, decades, eventually it reaches a point where it can hold no more carbon dioxide. And this becomes dangerous because one small earthquake, which fairly commonly happens along fault lines, which is where volcanoes are found, can send water, which holds 20 liters of carbon dioxide, up. And when it can no longer hold that, it will return to gas form. And so the gas will reformulate to a big bubble, and essentially a mega bubble of pure carbon dioxide is burped. Now, this is where things get crazy that night. So while the town slept, a small earthquake hit the lake, and it burped a bubble 1/4 of a cubic mile in size. The bubble, weighing more than oxygen, slid down the mountain as it began to dissolve into the atmosphere. but every person, animal, or non-carbon dioxide breathing entity in its path that needs the air didn't have air with oxygen in it. So as it slides down this hill, and for the small town of Neos, basically everything it slid over suffocates while it's in the bubble. So for the town, 1,700 of the town's 2,000 citizens suffocated to death just while they slept. Just stopped breathing. The other 300 managed to survive, but woke up several days later. All 3,500 cattle, countless chickens, and every other living animal in the town was dead as they slept peacefully that night. People were found dead in their homes up to 12 miles away from the lake, making the Belch one of the most deadly floods in human history.
Do you want to become more
Where
gruesome?
is this at again?
Lake Neos, Cameroon, Africa.
Right in time for Halloween. I mean,
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And to
That's
this
crazy.
day, it's still haunted.
Yeah. So literally killed off like 98% of everything in that area
You know,
with
I
a flood of gas.
used to think that burning alive was the worst way to die, but
That might be
death by lake
This would
birch,
actually
belch. I mean,
The people that survived, though, said everything was peaceful. Like, no one woke up because you could still breathe. It just wasn't providing oxygen to your blood flow. So you just went to bed that night and never woke up. Like, very peaceful way to go.
Unless you had plans.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Jeez. That is like
It's a weird flood, right?
a flood of carbon dioxide.
Yeah. So what do you want? The tides are rising or a sticky situation?
What's less gruesome than that? Wait, can I just make a point?
There's death in all
You
three
were
of these.
you were dogging on me for killing off 216 animals.
That's a good
I'm going
point.
to tell you, these are some deadly events.
Okay.
Oh.
What-
Which means one's made up.
Yeah.
Yes. In one of these events, I killed off a fair amount of people, yes.
let's go to that
Sorry.
one.
Let's go. Okay, you pick. Which one do you want?
I don't really care. I mean, you guys
What are
pick.
the two options?
The sticky situation or the tides are rising.
Sticky situation.
All right, Spencer. Hey, what's long, brown, and sticky?
I don't.
A
even
stick. Get your mind out of the gutter. All right.
Thank you.
All right. The sticky situation begins around lunch, January 15th, 1919, on the north end of Boston. Particularly warm January day, a molasses silo measuring 50 foot by 90 foot in diameter, containing 2.3 million gallons of molasses, warmed up to the point, and mind you, molasses, like everything, expands as it heats, where the silo blew up. With a bang that could be heard from miles away, a tidal wave of warm molasses began to rush into the city. And you may have heard the saying slow as molasses, but this molasses tidal wave, which was nearly 40 foot tall, raced 35 miles an hour into the crowded north end of Boston. People were picked up and hurled by the wave. One boy later reclaimed that he'd been carried atop the wave almost as though surfing. People got rolled within the wave, and their throats got clogged so they couldn't breathe or speak. That night, as night fell, it's January, the molasses hardened, and everyone froze that was in the molasses. They said it was impossible to distinguish between people and street signs because everything was frozen like one. And the city that had needed hundreds of people to clean up the mess, they would have to take sand to absorb the molasses and water to wash it away. But by the time everything had been cleared out, 21 people died in the tragedy and another 150 were injured. And the smell of molasses was prominent in the north end of Boston for decades after.
There's 0%.
When did this happen?
1919.
0% that chance that happened.
January 15th.
Yeah.
Absolute 0%.
Wait, you said it heated to the point, or did we not
Yes,
get
it
to
was a
ask
warm.
questions?
It was a
You
warm.
can ask
Yeah,
questions.
you can.
Ask me
Yeah,
any
so
questions you want.
it was a warm January day, and they transported it. It was basically the silo was filled over capacity, but because it was January, they thought it's okay. We can get it drained out before because they were transporting in loads, and it warmed up to the point where it blew up, and it blew all the rivets in this massive wave.
How were the loads
In-
being transported?
I don't know.
But
Alright.
in January, it got hot enough to where it exploded.
Good point.
In
Yes.
Boston.
In Boston.
Yes,
Boston.
in Boston.
In
of all-
Boston.
In
of all
Boston.
places.
In the harbor.
Yes, in the harbor.
I can't. There's no way that happened. Okay, what's the third one?
All right.
I almost want to lock that one in now.
You can.
Go for the mid one. Go for the mid ones.
The town of Whit Springs, Arkansas, rarely has to worry about tides because it's landlocked, and there's just a couple local lakes and springs around it. But like the rest of Arkansas, water doesn't typically play a major role in their life. This all changed, however, in the year 1879. That summer, the town introduced the first subterranean water storage system, or underground, right? So meant to replace the old water tower, which had been damaged in a tornado that previous summer. His underground tank was roughly 150 feet across and 35 foot deep. It was much celebrated as breakthrough technology in the small town, with the mayor even proclaiming this subterranean tank would be what put Wit Springs on the map. Citywide water wasn't common back then, so most houses had their own wells. So by all reports, this was like a really big deal for rural Arkansas. The tank went in under the town square with branching pipes leading to most of the residential and business buildings in the town, like an underground web of water. The tank was supposed to be freeze-proof. They don't typically get prolonged freezes in Arkansas, and underground provides insulation, and it would take a long time to freeze a tank that size solid. So even if they did get a cold day or two or even week, the thermal barrier would be enough that it wasn't going to be an issue. Then, on the evening of November 14th, 1879, after a couple days of hard rainwater is what was used to fill the tank through a filtration system, the first real freeze the tank saw happened. The main tanker held as expected, but what they didn't anticipate was the web of smaller pipes began to freeze underground. Unbeknownst to the townspeople, pipes began cracking and bursting under the intense pressure from the water within them expanding, and this created a completely unforeseen circumstance where the wet earth around the tank, so now the web around has cracked, the wet earth around the tank froze, pushing in on the outside of the tank from the up. So basically the example it gave was, think about a water bottle. The cap is the lid, right? Everything around is pushing in. You're squeezing the water bottle. At some point, the cap's going to come off. So when the cap burst, which did happen, the unfrozen water supply that had been insulated burst out and began to flood up from the ground at the town square. As the temperature warmed the next morning, the town square went from a busy intersection to a literal pool. Houses got flooded up to 3 foot of water, and it rushed into the storefronts, with 2 buildings even toppled over due to the loss of foundational support the flood caused. 3 people died in the tragedy of the buildings collapsing, and 9 more were injured. And the resulting damage was so great, the town actually just took their square and moved it a half mile up the road because they felt it was unsustainable to build over because of all the damage that it caused in the middle with the tank. Yeah. And that ends the tide's rising.
You put in these stories.
So-
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait. So
We need a recap.
I need
30
like
minutes ago.
the meeting minutes from the board meeting. like, can you give me like just give me the rundown?
Yes.
I just
Burp
need
of
that
death,
rundown.
Carbon dioxide flood, the sticky molasses flood, or the water pressure tank that blew under the town and flooded it.
Okay,
Those are the 3.
So the
So-
carbon dioxide.
Yes, carbon dioxide.
was a
Africa,
lake.
Boston, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
What year was that? Do we know?
Was the molasses that in Africa?
Molasses was
No, Boston.
1986
The
was
So
Africa.
1986,
The burp was
a
Africa.
lake
Burp was
popped,
Africa.
a bubble formed,
Correct.
and the bubble went
Slid down the mountain.
Yep.
Correct.
And then, who thought it was a good idea to put like a whole, like, whatever it was called, under filtration system under the whole city? Like, wasn't it like under the? Give me the explanation again on that. Like, who approved this?
Yeah, where's the government documentation for this?
I want to
Who
know.
approved it? I don't know. I saw
we
a.
need the meeting
I
minutes
don't.
for that.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Who approved it? I don't know. I saw a diagram that showed what it looked like sketches of it, and I don't know because
See, now when you say that, that makes me want to think it's false because you saw diagrams. Mind games.
fair.
Well, my problem with
It's
the
literally.
sorry.
Go ahead.
My problem with the Africa story is how many times has he thrown so much science at us?
I was thinking the same
I
thing.
know.
And here's the thing with that: no way would a bubble it would dissipate in the air. No.
I couldn't tell you. How often do you talk to the chemistry teachers?
We don't have chemistry in middle school.
Oh, that's a fair point.
So wait, okay, and then the molasses. It was a truck. What
It was a
exploded?
tank. Like it was literally a silo, like a molasses
And it
silo, 50 foot tall,
exploded.
90 foot in diameter.
It exploded
Correct.
In January.
in January
January.
because of the heat.
Remember that.
And
Okay,
it, and it slid down or
40 foot tall wave slid at 35 miles an hour.
molasses,
Correct.
and it killed 21 people.
Correct.
They were,
what year?
but they were sleeping.
1919. No. Sleeping was Africa.
Sleeping was Africa.
You should have been keeping notes.
You really need the notes.
Okay, so here's the I don't. They all kind of seem. The molasses seems the most unbelievable, but I would have to think that.
What's the
when-
most mid story
Which of
here?
these is believable to you?
The
Because
most
honestly,
middle suspect.
all 3 of them just feel really.
middle sus- I feel like so here's my rundown. The Africa story, right? I feel like that would dissipate in the air. Like there's no way a bubble formed. But the molasses going at 35 miles an hour, killing 21 people in January because of heat. Are you kidding me? I don't know, Matt.
Dude,
Wait, what was your other rundown? Wasn't there
there's
another
one more
story?
story to give a rundown
tank?
on.
Yeah.
The tank, I'll be completely honest, I zoned out, and so I was hoping that you guys would kind of yay or nay that one.
He just gave so much
diagram.
detail on it. I'm like,
The diagram is what got me. I feel like that's mind games.
He hit a lie behind detail.
In
And
one
it's
of the
just
three,
now
yes.
Which one
Yes.
was over detailed enough to have a lie hidden?
That's up to you to figure out.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna put this on our guest and see what he says.
What do you lock in?
Wow.
We'll make you go first.
I'm gonna do the one we kind of fell asleep on.
The taker?
The taker.
The water? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're picking Arkansas?
Yeah, the one with so
Arkansas.
much detail that I nearly fell asleep.
I'm gonna go molasses. My brain is saying go the Africa story, but my heart is saying the molasses one. There is just like, oh, you don't want me to choose them. You want me to choose the molasses?
I don't
you?
know. I'm really hard to read because I'll just smile whatever you say. Like,
I'm gonna lock in the molasses just because if that happened, then I didn't know molasses could move that fast. I didn't know you could have that much molasses in a tank. That would blow my mind.
Frick. I don't want to go the lake one, but I think I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, we're splitting it.
Splitting it. Just,
1-1-1. Okay.
All right, I'm locking in.
Okay,
The lake?
Break
Burp
your
Lake.
break
I don't
your-
like it. I don't like it at all. It's
Break
probably
your favorite
true.
heart first, Logan. Just
yeah,
do it.
all right, molasses happened.
That blows my mind.
I know.
Blows
And
my
I
mind.
looked that up at so many sources. It's wild. A molasses flood
That's
We got
unreal.
our sound effect
that
guy
killed
right over
21 people. Yeah. All right. Which one do you guys want to know about first?
The tank is false because you said the diagram. I think you were lying.
Yeah, you're right. I almost didn't say that. I
I
regretted
should-
saying it, but yeah, our guest got it right.
When
The
you said it,
Africa
I was like,
bubble
oh man.
happened. That Lake Neos.
Yeah.
So you got.
He got a point.
I only got one. So this is, mind you,
You got
this-
it right. You got it
yes.
right.
Let's go.
This is the second
The one we
time
fell
now
asleep
that
on.
I've fooled 2 of the 3, but only get 1 point because it's the guest that keeps getting
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
The guest is the only
Way to
reason.
go.
Success.
Yeah, literally, when you said the diagram, I thought, oh.
I'm gonna have a diagram on a
it's the
true one now,
diagram. Yeah.
just so you know.
But
You know what did it for me?
tell me.
I don't know what organization would approve that.
I don't. When you asked to approve that, I'm like, well, honestly, it's a pretty terrible
Because
idea.
We,
Like-
we fully trust the government. You know, we fully trust the government here at this podcast.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'm a guest. I can't speak for the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm up.
Well done. You
I'm
got
at-
1 point out of that,
Yeah.
though.
that was
So
way
how
too much
many-
work for 1 point.
So you got 2
1
points
point.
now.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
2
at 2.
points.
You have 1, Matt, or you have 2.
I have 2.
You have
'cause
2,
guys.
Yeah.
and I got 0.
You have 0.
Yeah.
And Guess has
Ma-
1.
Okay.
Wow.
Way to go. Way to go.
Okay, Alexander the Great. Let's see if I can't scrap a point out here.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
If you're anything nearly as great as him, maybe you can at least get 1.
I'm not confident.
That's
okay.
not him.
We can either do a love story. We could do royal dress, or we could do too much wine.
I could see you wearing a royal dress. So
Okay.
I've probably seen it before.
I've actually seen.
Jeremiah,
it.
don't put it in your mouth.
no.
Do we need to hear the
Guys,
story?
later.
I knew that was coming.
Go on, do
tell.
I need to hear a story.
No.
Yeah.
Jeremiah,
So
we can mute
get
Spencer.
out of here. Do not do this.
so
We're
back
good
in the
with
day, we were doing like a, if you will, a battle of the sexes, right? So
yeah.
in the friend group, and one of the events
This is so
is a
embarrassing.
skit, right? So we choose like a Bible story to reenact, and the one we do is remind me
Ruth and Boaz.
Ruth and Boaz. I can't remember the other. I knew Ruth,
Love
but
how you
Boaz.
made
So
him participate in this.
yes. So we're reenacting it, and it's the part where sits at his feet,
you.
right?
Plays
And-
at
and-
Boaz's feet. Yeah.
Yes, and so you got to picture this: me, 240 pounds, big like dude
Lifter,
who
football
lifts
player,
a
going to
lot.
college, play
Yes,
football.
and Spencer in a dress who paints his nails.
You had to put that in.
Oh.
I was
Details are
I was
everything.
committed to the bit. I was
I
committed
love
to the
it.
bit.
You went the extra mile.
I did.
went
I was committed to the
more
bit.
than the
And
extra
let's Jeremiah was Boaz, so it's not like But
yeah.
I guess he wasn't.
So we had lines. We rehearsed everything because we were gonna win, right?
100%.
And I'm sitting on this couch, and he sits at my feet, and he's rubbing his bristly beard against my feet. Probably the strangest thing.
Wait, listen. We won that skit.
We
though.
did.
Did you
we
win?
did.
We won.
We did.
Yeah.
I mean,
so-
anything for the win.
Well
But,
done.
but
Well
I was,
done.
that was a lot.
Thank you.
That was a lot.
I was committed to the bet, and we did. So I don't want to hear it.
Wow.
So, anyways, let's talk
Is
about the
there,
royal dress.
footage of that anywhere?
There's
A picture?
There's a
somewhere.
picture
Could
of
you
him wearing
send
a
it
dress.
to me?
Jeremiah,
If I find
don't
it.
you
If
dare.
I find
Don't
it.
you dare.
Great.
would do so much for that picture.
Okay. Okay. I'm telling my story. Let's get
Go
off
ahead.
of this. Oh, man. Who would have thought my love for competition would come back to haunt me? Okay. Here we go. After 6 years of deep excursions into the Persian Empire in 330 BC, Alexander conquered Persepolis, the longtime center of the Persian culture. Realizing that the best way to maintain control of the Persians was to act like one, Alexander began to wear a striped tunic and a diadem of Persian royal dress. To the dismay of the I do that every time. To the dismay of the cultural purists back in Macedonia. In 324, he held a mass wedding in the Persian city of Susa, in which he forced 92 leading Macedonians to take Persian wives. Alexander himself married 2.
In a dress?
No,
In a tunic?
I don't know what he married them in, but he dressed up in the royal dress of a different culture after he conquered them,
Oh.
and then forced.
Aggressive.
Then he forced his own people
Yeah.
to marry some of the Persians. So
That-
I have
That seems like a thing a conqueror would do.
Yeah.
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 I have no real strong opinions on this yet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Next one.
Are we going love story? Or are we going too much wine?
I mean, I think after the story we heard, we had to go with love story.
Love
Ruth
story. Yep.
and Boaz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Very good
Okay.
point.
After a spectacular capture in 327 BC of Sogdian Rock, a seemingly impenetrable mountain fortress, the 28-year-old Alexander was surveying his captives when Roxanne, the teenage daughter of a Bactrian nobleman, caught his eye. Soon after, in a traditional wedding ceremony, the king sliced a loaf of bread in 2 with his sword and shared it with his new bride. A few months later, Alexander died, but Roxanne gave birth to the couple's only son, Alexander IV.
I just want to know what wedding says you're married. Cut bread.
Beats me.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Roxanne.
I saw the pie cut at your wedding, so maybe that's actually.
Okay.
What-
Roxanne.
Maybe it does.
Roxanne's the name of the woman. Really?
Roxanne. R-
That is super sketch.
It's kind of
Roxanne
sus,
is a-
honestly.
You couldn't have Googled better, ancient.
ancient names for my fake story.
In 325 BC. In 325 BC, Alexander Great, this is now too much wine. Alexander Great celebrated a recent battle victory. Per the custom, the king and his generals would drink in his honor and drink in the honor of the fallen soldiers before the celebration began. However, one of Alexander's most trusted generals also had fallen during the battle. When this would occur, the Greeks would additionally bring out the nicest wine and toast the general. After the drinks to honor the soldiers, then the general celebration began. But Alexander had consumed too much wine during the morning period, and he actually passed out before the celebration began, delaying the party until he awoke. Unfortunately, many Greeks did not know their king was incapacitated and began the celebration. The result, 300 Greeks in prison for celebrating before the king.
That just sounds true.
That sounds so true.
That's just, I mean,
Like, they
if
used
it's,
to
if
throw
it's
you
made
in
up,
prison
like,
for something.
great, but that just, you really just...
They used to throw you in prison for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like really dumb. Like you,
It just seems like, something, again,
Yeah.
a conqueror would just be like, doesn't matter if I was passed out or not, you're not starting without me.
so I think the
This is my
reality,
friend.
the reality we're all thinking on right now is number 2 sounds the most fake to probably all of us. But do we really triple up and
really
give
all
you a
triple
chance
up?
at 3 points?
But is the name the only thing we're tripping over in that story? Or is there more?
I'm tripping over the bread. Cutting
But-
bread to unify the family.
Yeah, but, like the breaking of bread is usually like a call for celebration. But I guess it was the slicing of bread.
I brought my sword out and said, my
Did-
loaf!
Let's be honest. What kind of bread did they have back then? Like the unleavened crumbly stuff or
I
like
don't
the
know.
nice sliceable stuff we have now? I mean,
I don't know.
Like I just can't think like you're gonna celebrate slicing bread.
Yeah.
That's I'm trying to get over that. Like celebration because you just I don't know. The first one was he conquered a town and wore the
dress, and then he made his town
people marry.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like it's that
It's
the
never-
other two are just
it's never the most unbelievable one though.
that's the problem. It's like yeah.
All right, I already
I don't
went
know.
first.
What do you think?
Our guest already went first. I want to hear what Matt says.
Oh shoot! I have to lock in first.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, he conquered the Persians during that time.
I would assume, yes. He conquered a lot of people.
I meant for the
Which
when
one?
he wore the royal attire.
The
It was
Persian. The
Persians.
Persian Empire.
He wore that and made them marry. Man. Your last one was
The too much wine.
too much
Greek.
wine. He put him in jail. I can't get over it. I'm gonna lock in 2. It's probably not the right one to lock in, but I'm gonna lock it in. And the wedding, something doesn't sit right about it, and I'm probably wrong
Okay.
based on his reaction.
Logan.
I don't know.
I'm going to regret this. I'm going to do the same.
Okay.
Because it truly was the one I felt like was the most, and I hate to double down.
I hate this.
And I
hate
I don't know.
it so
We'll see.
much.
We'll see.
Is this the
Maya,
comeback?
are we?
I'm not going with him.
Good.
Okay.
Good. We needed one person to.
There was just something about the way you said the one that was the most believable.
Okay.
The
Okay.
too much wine.
Okay.
There was just something about it.
Okay.
Okay.
So you locking that in?
It sounds believable, but there's just something about it that I think's wrong. So I'm gonna lock in there.
Okay.
Too
All right,
much
so
wine.
tell us about the wedding,
Okay.
the dress.
True.
Thank goodness.
Wedding dress is true.
Wedding
Okay.
dress is true.
That's
Yeah,
that's a
wore the
start.
dress, made his people marry.
Means he only gets 1 point either way.
Yeah.
No, I could get 2. And did I get 2?
No, because if you
If
fool
I
us
stump you-
both, that's a -1.
You got
No.
it right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
so-
1 point either way. Anyway,
Yeah.
tell us. Break
So-
your favorite heart.
Here's the unfortunate aspect of this. This is where knowing a guy for 15 years really screws me over. Because I thought for sure I was tripling down. And the loaf bread thing is true.
Oh, really?
Wow.
True.
That just seemed
True.
Oh, all right.
I completely made up the too much wine. That is false. I sat and I made it up myself.
Way to stop.
Wait. Did you guess all 3 wrong?
No,
Or just
he-
the last
he got
2?
that one
Just-
right.
No. But like,
Just-
did
just-
he pick all 3 right? Like,
Just the last.
last 2.
Just
just
the
last 2. Okay,
Last 2.
I couldn't remember.
So I only got
But-
one there.
Wow. Well
But-
done.
So you got 1 point?
Yeah.
Dude,
got one.
We didn't get any.
stop
Don't-
him.
The biggest.
Don't
thing-
even
Yeah,
open your
explain
mouth.
this,
Should I-
explain
should I
this.
get-
No.
should I
Maya,
give away
do
his
not
spells?
open your mouth.
Explain this right now.
Do not open your mouth.
He
Just
has
come
a
on.
tell,
You
doesn't
are
he?
you got in and
This
you
is
got out.
America. Don't let him tell you. What to do.
You already exposed me once.
He has a tell,
Don't
doesn't he?
don't do it, Mayo.
The only thing I'm gonna say.
Oh my, don't.
Only thing I'm gonna
Don't.
say is there's just a certain way when he speaks. There's just something he does. There's a very clear tell, and I know it from playing all that euchre, poker, all that stuff with him. Like he has a
Wow.
tell. Like all the like, and I was like, oh, that's playing enough games with this man. I knew he has a tell.
It's time to start studying Spencer.
Yeah.
Start time.
I'm gonna start watching the film.
Start watching all the film.
Okay, what's the points? What's the point?
Oh,
Since
man.
Maya's
So
said, come
this-
to
this-
my house.
If I got this
This
correct,
episode
okay.
cannot wrap up quick enough for Spencer.
Seriously.
Got
If I got
exposed
this
too much.
correct, there are 3 people who scored 2 points. As Logan, Jeremiah, and myself, and you scored 1.
I'll take it.
So that brings us to a total
Loser.
of Logan at 10, Spencer at 8, me at 6, and our guest at 7.
Okay.
Wow.
Very close game.
Very close
Very
game. 4
close.
episodes
Anything
in.
could happen.
Really could.
So, Maya, I would say thanks for coming on, but screw you, man. No, I'm joking. I'm
Maya,
joking.
it's been a pleasure.
It has.
It has
It's been
been
an
a
It has been a
absolute
pleasure.
Yes.
Oh man, just absolutely expose me and then nail me down with that lie.
Oh,
So
Yep.
He was catching strays, and I loved every minute of it.
It's always a good time when I get to roast Spencer
Yeah.
for a little bit. So,
but
anytime.
okay. Next week we have a former Grace Lancer.
Yes.
Yeah, a guy we played baseball with back in the day.
Whoop, whoop.
The
And
home run
so-
king.
The home run
Home
king.
run
So
king.
stay tuned with that. Jeremiah, thanks for coming on, and
Thanks,
we'll
man.
see you next
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah,
Peace out.
toodaloo.
Bye.